What is going on, DJ Nation? Kenneth Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast this week for the Scottish Open. As usual, I am here with everybody's favorite South African, Byron Lindeque. Byron, what is up, my friend? Did you have yourself a week at your Super Bowl at the John Deere Classic?
Kenny, I've got a bad case of the Monday blues. I can't tell you how much fun I had at the John Deere. We're going to be diving into that in a big way. I had a blast. It's fucking Monday. Let's go.
All right, so before we move on, our show is sponsored by ProphetX. Use promo code FGD, FG Degenerate. Get yourself a little bonus back for your first 30 transactions that you do. You get like 1.5% back on every transaction that you put in for your first 30. Make sure you go to Play ProphetX. We will have our little Play ProphetX segment here shortly. All right, so there was no winner last week in our YouTube comment winner competition thing we do. No one picked Brian Campbell. Not shocking. So, but remember, go to our YouTube page, go to our comment section, write down, comment who you think is going to win this week's Scottish Open. We do this each and every week. The winner gets a free month on Byron's Patreon. So make sure you go get that done right now. The first person to pick the winner. So make sure you look through, get all that done. So, John Deere Classic, we hit Brian Campbell. Once again, one of the craziest two-time winners, quite possibly, on the PGA Tour in a long time. There's been like 6 multiple winners this year, like Scheffler, Rory, and then, Brian Campbell. Right? And he does it on one course, which is the driver-heavy course. And in this one, Bombers have had success at JDC before. It's more open to all types of people off the tee. But really, really incredible stuff from the second lowest driving average on the PGA Tour. I think 175th out of 176 on tour when it comes to driving distance. When you can hit your long irons like he does and putt like he does, I guess the distance doesn't matter. You were there live. You saw him in person. How impressive of a performance was it by him?
I went and found him on the back nine because the crowd was not nearly big enough around him compared to the Homer grouping. So I kind of try and always avoid the biggest crowd because I want a good viewing experience. I got upfront view of his double. I showed up for the people and tried to do us some dirty work there. The double showed up. But Kenny, his swing, his motion to get back to the ball is so quick. You'd think he hits it further, but it just floats out there. So maybe he's just a weakling, but apparently he's an OG gangster weakling because the guy just came out and balled out. When we were on the hole that he made a double bogey on, it rained for him only. Kurt Kitayama played 2 shots either side of him. He never played a single shot in the rain. It was the weirdest day of weather out there. So he wasn't just trying to win the John Deere. He was dealing with the wind would come before it rains, and then it would stop when it's raining, and then it would be breathless and humid as shit. It was so hot out there. So it was just incredible what he got up to. My favorite part, Kenny, was his 3-wood into 17.
Sick.
He hit the 3-wood further than his drive. It went 273 yards off the tee, 277 with the 3-wood to 18 feet. And he's only had 1 3-putt from 15 to 20 feet this year. He basically sealed up a guaranteed birdie, a good chance at eagle there. And that just gave him the confidence to make par on 18. And, he got into a 2-manner. When he is in the mix, dude, he gets into it, man. He hit that bad shot on 15. That was it. The rest are all good shots, right?
Yeah, he was solid. Griot just couldn't hit a good approach on the back nine. I mean, he had his chances. It seemed like he was misclubbing every hole, just leaving it 20, 30 yards short. Every hole, he had his chances. The playoff, he made a mess of the playoff, well deserved to lose. For me, I was a little bit lucky since I had 2 of my casting cornerstones missed the cut, but I easily cast. I was in the top 10% because I had Griot and I had Kevin Roy. as my two non-cash cornerstones. I apologize, people. My bad. I did talk about them, but they weren't one of my cash game cornerstones. But they did help me out in the top 10% in all double ups with a 4 out of 6. And one thing I will say about that, and I've talked about this before, is Ben Griffin was 60 to 70% owned
In cash.
in double ups, and 50-50s. And that's why I do not pay attention to ownership when it comes to cash. Because if you think about it, I was 4-6 and I finished in the top 10% with Ben Griffin in my lineup, right? And so basically having him in my lineup really didn't hurt me that much. Now, the thing is, if I didn't have him in my lineup and he was 70% owned and he came like top 3, there's no way I'd win even with a 5 or 6 probably at that moment in time. So again, when it comes to cash lineups, double ups, 50-50s are what I'm talking about. You don't really have to pay too much attention to ownership. You can play the chalk. It's not that bad of a strategy. And you saw it with my cash lineup last week. I think I finished with my 2 other cash game cornerstones, which was like Stevens and somebody else that was up there. Thor Bjornsson, who had a really solid Sunday
Scored well.
finish.
Didn't play great.
Yeah. A bunch of eagles for Thor.
Lots of eagles.
Made that scoring pretty easy. And that was top 10%. Easy cash. No sweat at all. So that was nice. I had the Kevin Roy each way. He pissed me off a little bit because he had that 9-foot birdie putt on 17 that would have got him into the playoff if he just birdied any of the 2 par 5s on the back 9 for a guy with his decent length. He would have made the playoff. But I'll take the each way, and I did bet Brian Gamble prior to the back 9 at 16-1, and I had like $27 left in my bankroll for the week, because I did say save your money for live betting. I had like the worst live bets fucking possible with Chris Kirk, who was like near the lead and then finished. He shot the same score that I did on Saturday. If you can believe that. Chris Kirk there was and I'll talk about my golf round. I did break 80 for the first time ever in my life on Saturday, and I'll talk about that round. But it seems like the golf gods were like, okay, we'll give you the 80, because if you hear how I broke 80, it was pretty crazy how it happened. But it's either you break 80 or Chris Kirk is gonna do well, and the gods are like, okay, let's just fuck him with Chris Kirk. Because and the golf gods are like, we'll let you break 80, but you're not gonna get the Chris Kirk. I was like Camille Villegas at 70-1. He was like 1 stroke back on Saturday. And I was like 70-1. Why the fuck not? I can see why the fuck not with that. But it ended up working out. I still had a little bit left. And he went with our boy Brian Campbell at 16-1, only $27, but it won me all my money back plus some that I bet on. Plus, I hit the Roy each way. So it was a solid week there. I did also place in the top 50. I think I finished like 54th in the $100 single entry. So it's like my 4th or 5th top 55 finish in that tournament in the last like 10 weeks or something like that, last 12 weeks. So I got a bunch of money on that. Plus, I won in cash. So, solid week. I won across the board. Last week. So it was solid. Any other guys like catch your attention while you're there? Let's hear about. You had a great week too.
I had 3 outright each ways. I had Bridgman, I had Lucas Glover, and I had Kevin Roy. All finished inside the top 5. One of them was a dead heat situation with the chop, but that was badass. I had Brian Campbell for round 3 leader or round 2 leader, and at 66-1, he cashed that each way as well. I had Brian Campbell in a quarter of my lineups, Kenny. I had no 6-for-6s, and I made money this week. 5-for-6s. Brian Campbell lineups are cashing at 4-for-6, dude.
The cut sweat hurt me because I forget who else I had in that lineup. I had 5-6 in the single entry, the $100 single entry, and I think it was Super. Super was 1 off, I think, 1 off the cut line.
Yeah,
and he missed So if he made the cut, he was only 1% owned. So it's not like the 6 of 6s would have went up a bunch if he made the
But
if
you
he
would
made
have
the
gone
cut.
up
If he
the leaderboard.
I would have gone up huge. I mean,
Yeah.
I could have been in like a top 10 lineup again if Super made the cut. So that one hurt a little bit, but overall it was a great week. But I want to hear a little bit about your 3 days at the John Deere Classic wearing a fucking tutu and
Yes.
shit like that.
So
Let's talk about that.
sold our soul on Twitter with golf tips checker, and I said I will do some dirty shit for Aldrich to win. And I didn't mention it on the show on Monday last week. I was hoping it would go under the radar. He quote tweeted that quote, and it was like redug up like a goddamn grave digger. And I had to buy an American tutu for the 4th of July. So I kind of weaseled my way into looking goofy, but in a patriotic kind of way. So I wasn't looking like a total bitch out there that would have done anything for an Aldrich win. But we got out there, and the next thing I know, I'm walking the whole 5, and this cameraman sneaks up on me, and he's like, giving me like hand signals, not even speaking to me. He's just like telling me wait, and then gave me like a rolling sign. So I was like, oh, I'm on TV, because I was trying to walk with on camera, dude. And the best part was it was like an outro for one of the ends of the.
It was
the
end of the event. It was the end
Yeah.
of, I think it was the end of CBS's coverage
Yeah.
on
And it said,
Saturday.
apparel sponsored by Levelwear, and that box was up over my tutu, and that was just so hilarious that like the apparel had me looking like a total freaking weirdo out there. But all the older ladies freaking loved it, dude. They weren't even like giving me a hard time. They were like, oh, love your tutu. And then a couple dudes are like, what bet did you lose, man? Like all the interactions that I got were exactly how I expected them to be.
I was
walked around like I
trying to
wasn't
find
wearing
I was contemplating trying to find a new co-host. I'll be honest. After seeing you in a tutu,
But
man. I was thinking about
I have now been on the John Deere Classic TV and the President's Cup, so I'm like available. Just if you need any sort of broadcasting fill-in, I'm available. CBS. I managed to walk with Aldrich's dad while wearing the tutu for multiple holes. He was cool enough to do that. He called it a dress, which you'd call a rokkie in Afrikaans. So he absolutely had a blast, because I told him why I was wearing it. It's because of his son.
that's cool.
His dad tried to tell Aldrich walking from 6 tee to 6 green to 7 tee box that I was wearing this rokkie because he had gewen gisterand. And he told him that, and then Aldrich just ignored him. He was so zoned in on Friday that he just ignored him. And
why did he WD?
Rumor has it nobody knows. I was with a couple people that should know.
I know he
why
sucked
he
that
WD'd.
day.
And yeah, he sucked on Saturday, but I don't know why he WD'd. But I spoke to Aldrich's dad. He played rugby, so he was the same position as me growing up. That's why I got multiple concussions. That's why I am the way I am. He also said that the grips that they changed grips in the UK, along with the iron fittings. They ground down the soles of his irons to change how it goes through the turf. That fitting has completely changed his entire game. Like, he had the Charles Schwab and then showed up at the Rocket and won, man. So like, since moving to the new setup with the equipment, he hits it so damn far that you need the right stuff. You cannot have the wrong shaft in those things. You cannot have the wrong bounce. You need the right stuff. So for him especially, Brian Campbell might be the other side of that spectrum, where he also needs specific shit because of how slow he swings. But he was super excited. He said the Corn Ferry Tour, he's proud that his son even got through there, because it's not meant for him. He's not a driver wedge guy. He's like, it's just driver wedge, driver wedge, driver wedge. Everyone's just hitting the same shots in. He wants longer courses, more difficult courses, like Aldrich has kind of shown he can play on a couple times. Torrey Pines, the Nedbank. So he mentioned that. And he said just Torrey Pines was just 2 bad shots. That's all he hit. It was just 2 bad shots. And, he waited forever on that par 3 green. So he had some excuses for his son. It was a great time, like, chatting to him. Aldrich knows Afrikaans. Surprisingly, they speak Afrikaans in the house. So he speaks Australian accent, South African accent, and Afrikaans. So his accent's all fucked up. But kind of like Emiliano Grilland in a playoff. But hey, what can I say? So anyway, that's Aldrich. Then Friday night we go partying. I was like having a good time, not like belligerently hammered or anything, but we were ready. We came back and built some DFS lineups, so we were still coherent. I climb into the elevator, and they're leaning up against the wall. Is fucking Kevin Kisner, dude. Like, as blacked out can be, man. I think he might still be looking for his room as of Friday night. It was like, I walked in there, I was like, hey, what's up, Kiz? And he's like, just like, didn't even like speak words, man. It's like mumbling. He had like wet all the way down his shirt. I don't know if he'd thrown up or if it was just spilling on himself. It was like a great impression to see Kiz for the first time, just like completely blitzed. But that was
one
funny.
of us.
One of us.
I sat next to his wife at the airport at the President's Cup. She was pretty hot.
Yes. So I'm sure he sees double of her, maybe triple when he does get home most of the times. But that night didn't blow up my air mattress well enough. For the first time as an adult, I fell out of my bed, and we had the trash can with all the cans of twisted teas and stuff we were drinking. And just, dude, the most random thing you can do is just fall out of your bed into a trash can of empty cans, because the sound effects are like, feels like you just fall into a dumpster. But fell off the air mattress because I'm going to say it was underinflated. 260 pounds floating around on the underinflated air mattress. Can go anywhere. So we made adjustments.
How far off the ground were you when
2
you
feet?
fell?
2 feet. Nothing too crazy.
See, when I was in college,
fell into the trash can though. Like, that was what the problem was. It's like,
so when I was in college, we used to have the lofts where you sleep. You build this loft. Your bed's on the top, and your computer's underneath, and your desk and everything, so your dorm room can hold 2 people, right? And so my buddy, my roommate at that time, he never smoked weed, and we went to some frat party. It was like the first week that we were in college, and we went to some frat party, came back, and I got him to smoke. He fell off of his loft into the closet, like 6-7 foot drop, broke the closet door. I think there were beer Davies there. So at least you weren't as bad as my buddy Daryl in college, falling off because he didn't wake up. He just fell asleep in the broken closet. And I had to like check his pulse to make sure he wasn't dead. He wasn't dead. So he was just passed the fuck out and fell. So I was like, I let him sleep like that. So at least it wasn't as bad as that. 2 feet ain't that bad.
No, it wasn't bad. But shocking nonetheless. Then we went there Saturday, so hot, so hungover. But I tried to. I did like 29, 27 holes, 30 holes of walking. I did the morning shift and the PM. When I go out there, I walk. I try to get a good feel, followed Tristan quite a lot. Every time I showed up, Tristan would just suck it. So I just kind of watched him a lot, but not much at the same time, because I would leave, then you make eagle on 17, So I was trying to get him across the line. Wasn't working. Chatted to his girlfriend for a little bit. She's very bullish on him for the Lynx events coming up. I think little teaser over there. I'm all in on Tristan once we've gone across the pond again. I think
I was thinking about it.
Yeah. I'm all in. We can chat more about that. Saturday night, I decide to go out with a buddy and another guy from CBS who drinks daiquiris. We went to the DAC Fac there in Davenport, which is like the daiquiri factory. And
is that the picture you showed me of white people doing some fake ass electric slide?
Yes. So we went there the first night on Friday. We went back for Saturday. Friday was like kind of quiet, like kind of rhythmic, nice chilled vibe. We walk in there. I may or may not have had a toke or two, and I'm just looking at what's going on here. And I say to the guys from far away, I was like, oh, it's busy. The people are dancing on the dance floor, whatever. We get in there. It's full on cult, dude. It's like a gymnastics convention of people wearing cowboy boots because they're like fluttering their faces in between songs because they are just going hard at the paint. We were just drinking our slushies and just watching these guys do intense movements with the line dancing, the square dancing, whatever you call it. And the funniest thing is the main guy that was the best person was the only dude. All these other chicks, he was the best person dancing. And they're all trying to follow him. But he was just like the most alpha male ever, but with like the coolest, like anyone can approach me kind of thing, but also When I'm on the fucking dance floor, I'm doing my shit. But I was just so obsessed with all of this stuff. You could see we was new because all the new people were fat. All the people that knew what they were doing were skinny. It was hilarious because you just burned so much calories doing that. So you could exactly see before they even danced, like who the newbies were because they were out of shape. So I need to get involved in some square dancing. But our guy Bryce, dude,
I'll be
he
honest.
put away-
My grandmother was into line dancing for like 20 years. And she says, and they have a Korean women's group of line dancers in the DC area. And she was a part of that group. They performed in all these different crazy places. She says it's one of the reasons she's still alive. So I
Yes.
guess these people know what they're doing. When it comes to these line dances, and the girls that I saw there, they looked all right, bro. They looked all right.
Yeah. And that was only like a quarter of who was all there. It was packed. And yeah, the girls were great. They would just look past you because they got to look somewhere because they're always like rotating. And we were sitting in the other side of the room, like in the fishbowl. It was soundproof. So we had like some rap, some like hip hop going on while these fucking country people are busy line dancing in the other room to like Eminem. It was just I was just losing my mind.
Oh, they're doing this shit to Eminem?
No, it looked like they were because I could hear Eminem where we were sitting on the other side. And they were doing it to the country. Like you open the door and you immediately hear like Dirks Bentley or whatever.
Okay, so like a
But
dance.
you couldn't hear it
where
where we
like
were
people
sitting.
okay.
In the other part because it was just the cult in that room. There was no place to sit. So incredible stuff. So a little bit of the golf stuff. I walked a lot with Tristan. I started walking with Nate Lashley for one hole. Prior to that hole, apparently he just absolutely ripped a fuck bomb right in front of a volunteer and a bunch of kids. Like he just lost his shit. So he gets onto 6 tee box, hits his shot, and then walks down the tee box, thinks a bit, asks some of the people that are following him in the gallery, do you want bottles of water? It must be his wife and whatever and friends. They say yes. He walks all the way back, gets the bottle of water. As he's walking down the hill, an official comes floating by. I think it was, I don't even remember who he was playing with, but he passed him. And Nate Lashley says, "You're not going to tell me we're behind, are you?" And the official's like, "No, but I am going to tell you that what you said on that last hole is unacceptable. And we will fine you if you do that again." Because he just ripped into whatever the hell happened. He was in the trees. I think he dropped a fuck or 5. And the official was like chest to shoulder. He was like in his fucking face, man. It was intense. I thought they were going to throw down, but it didn't happen. The official was a very proud John Deere dad. It was like that was his course. That baby was his, and he fucked with it. And he told him no. Took forever. I think eventually Nate got put on the clock or was being timed. Some guy was walking with a phone, like timing all of his shots. So rumors also had it that like people that have played with Nate are like, they get real sad when they get paired with him because he's a giant tool. And I could see it. He just didn't give a fuck what was going on the course. So it was really interesting to kind of never meet your heroes, never meet your heroes. So that was that. Drove around in Lexuses all the time. Would park at the John Deere parking. Alexis would
Why
pick
were
me
you
up.
driving around in Lexuses all the time?
That's how I got into the course versus a school bus, which is how the Simps get in. But as a Mayo Media Network media member, I just got dropped off right, like maximum. I walked like in front of the Lexus as I was like getting out, and just seeing these people like up close is so weird too, because they just the coolest, and it was a great time.
You're telling me they didn't pull you in on tractors? I think this is a missed opportunity, dude. Like we gotta call your course and say, come on, let's do this right.
They should put a bunch of bleachers on a tractor and just haul people in like that, or just like a hog truck, just pile people in like sardines. But that was pretty much it. I just had a blast walking around. If you are a 15 handicap and below, or even if you're just a golfer in general, you are hitting your wedges too high. I can almost guarantee you're hitting your wedges too high. You are probably swinging a full swing all the way to the top. Professionals, the biggest thing I noticed with their wedges is they put it way back in their stance and they hit it 3/4. Their shaft is always pointing up to the sky. It's never going past parallel ever. It's pointing up to the sky. They're hitting a 3/4 shot and it's coming out like floaty. It's not just, when you hit a shot, it's like a loopy loop. their ball floats, and then the spinner gets it to just land softly like that. So I'm going to be trying to hit my wedges even lower, because every time I go, I remind myself of how much better they are at wedge play than we are, and they hit their ball shot. The ball flight is completely different to what we do. They hardly ever have to hit it high. When they need to, they can, but they don't. They hit it so low, it's absurd. So I thought that was quite something worthy. Aldrich, his power, he's not even an attraction in person, to be honest with you. He's more suited for TGL. He's more suited for being on TV cameras, because you can't tell that he's hitting at 190 miles per hour with a driver. It's so effortless. You can tell it's going far, but it's not like Bryson. Bryson fucking swings out of his shoes when he's hitting it. Rory also, you can tell that they've ripped it. Aldrich's swing is so fluid, man. It's effortless, and you don't even realize what he's doing. And his wedges were dialed on Friday, completely sucked it up on Saturday. So hopefully he's okay. But John Deere never disappoints. I had a blast. Didn't cash the 3-peat, but we got 3 guys in the placements. So I feel like that's kind of like a 3-peat anyway. So, yeah, it was a good time, Kenny. I had a fucking blast. And went into the tower behind 18 green on Sunday with Ian Baker Finch and Andrew Catalon. The guys gave me the headset to listen. And you are speaking, wearing this headset about the broadcast while the producer is just yapping away about everything going on. I don't know if I could do that, because I have too much it's just, I couldn't understand what was going on, because I didn't know what to listen to. I didn't know who to listen to, but it kind of gave me a bit more respect for what these guys do in the broadcast booth.
Did you meet your boy, Trevor Immelman?
I met Mark. We had dinner. At dinner, I ordered orange duck.
Mark is the one that used to co-host with Rick, right?
Yeah, they still do the second cut.
They still do the show.
Okay, Mark. Okay. I ordered duck. Waiting there, they bring this duck, Kenny, and you're a server. She puts it down on my plate. It is rare. It is seared on the outside, and the inside of this duck is closer to the color of your couch than it is your skin tan. It was, buddy, it was 5 degrees away from flapping off my plate. If I poked a fork into it, it would have quacked at me, because it was so rare. Spent $35 on this fucking duck, and we had to send it back in. And then it was too rubbery afterwards, because it had already been cooked once. But everyone that was looking at this plate said, you should just send that back. Even the waitress was the chef wanted me to serve it to you medium rare. I was this isn't even medium rare. It's fucking dead. It's just been killed. That's all you've done is change the outside of the color. So
yeah, I don't have much experience. I don't have much experience with poultry, with duck, except for Peking duck. We never sold duck in my restaurant, so I'm not I don't really know if that's the way you're supposed to eat it or not. I have no idea.
Oh, buddy.
I mean, most of the time when you think poultry, you want it cooked through well, but yeah. I don't know. I
was then on Sunday,
the only duck I ate is Peking duck, and that's always cooked through.
Yeah, I drove into John Deere on Sunday, and I saw a couple swans there, and I didn't really even see the difference between what was on my plate and what was in the pond. Just a couple feathers in the way. But either way, it was a good time. Had a blast. Not happy that it's Monday. I'll put it out there. I wish that could.
Yeah, you made the rookie mistake there, brother. I know you couldn't do it because of what's going on with your job, but anytime you have a weekend like that, you got to take the Monday off. I mean, so when I'm going to the golf trip with you, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm flying back on Monday. I took Tuesday off. I took Tuesday off. I want to work Thursday and Friday, and then I take Friday off for the Ryder Cup. It's going to be a hell of a week. I just can't really take 7 straight days off being the director of estimating. It just wouldn't work. So I have to go in at least for a couple of days to make sure shit's good. And then I'll take the Friday off and have a 3-day weekend on the next weekend too. So I'm looking forward to that. So it sounds like you had a pretty fun weekend. I had my best round ever. My goal this year, of course, has been to break 80. It's been my goal for my whole life. I've shot 81, I think 6 times in my life. Most of them were all in my 20s. I would say since the stroke I had in 2022, my game has been a little bit off. Before then, I was around 14, 15 handicap. I probably get to as low as 12 in my 20s. Around that area, I just couldn't rake 80 to save my life. And so after the stroke, I had a little problem with my vision. Couldn't see the ball off the face of the club. Also, I gained a whole lot of weight afterwards, and I think that affected my swing as well. So I've lost the weight, but my game really hasn't been that good. Prior to the last 5 rounds that I've played, I was shooting, I was barely breaking 95, right? I was shooting like 97, 95. I'd have like a random 88 in there, but it was like 99, 98, 97, 88, 95. It's been bad. My handicap was up to 18 at that point in time. And I guess about a month ago, I saw a swing tip on it's like Adam Young Golf. It was random as shit. I was just like scrolling and I saw it and I was like, huh, that makes sense. Since I saw that swing tip, I've done a couple of other things where, I'm doing exercises to keep me from swaying, trying to keep my left hips stable instead of swaying on my backswing. And also I've redone my entire pre-shot routine. I'm really focused on like where I'm aiming. I pick a point 6 inches in front of the ball. I take as many practice swings as possible till I feel like I've swung a good swing. If that's 1, if that's 5. That's how many until I swing a good swing in my mind. And then I go up to the ball, and my last 3 swing thoughts are about my hip, keeping it steady. Don't sway. Club face positioning. Make sure that club face is lined up with where you're aiming, and also explode the hips in time. And so since I've started doing that, I've shot 90, 84, 87, 88, and 90. So the game has just completely turned around in the last 2-3 weeks. And so I go out on Friday, I shoot 90. It wasn't great. Nothing was working, but I still shot 90, right? Like, the big thing is I'm not losing balls. And so I'll go over my round. And this might take a little bit. So if you guys don't want to hear this, just use the timestamp. Skip it. It's my show. And this is like one of the top 10 days.
Can I do that as well?
Yeah, skip it. Go ahead.
Skip it.
This is like how long are you going to do this?
I'll be back in. No.
Go ahead. You can bounce. This is one of the top 10 days of my life. So I'll say whatever.
I'll
talk about.
I love you.
I don't give a fuck what you do. You can bounce. I will talk about this for the next 45 minutes without you, and do the whole show, and I'll be perfectly fine. So all right. So I go out Saturday, playing my home course. First off, I par the first hole. I always double it. It was typical driver, fairway, green, 2-putt, easy. Next hole, second hole. It's about a 300-yard dogleg right, short par 4. I hit a beautiful cut. I hit cuts now, all of a sudden, in the last 6 rounds. I hit cuts off the tee. Sometimes it's either a baby cut or a baby draw. I still can't control it 100%, but I'm aiming like right at the middle. So even though I hit the baby cut or the baby draw, it's still okay. So I hit this beautiful, beautiful cut. I landed about 8 feet in front of the green. Chip, 2 feet, birdie. Par 3 next, green, 2-putt, par. Par 5 next, hardest call on the course. Decent drive, decent layup, good approach, 2 putts, par. 5th hole, par 3, 175. Hits beautiful, towering 5 hybrid. About 12 feet behind the hole, make the putt for birdie. So I'm 2 under after 5. At this point, I'm like, okay, I got a chance here. This is possible. And then the next 5 holes were just a disaster. On 6, I lose a ball off the tee, hit my 3rd shot onto the green, 3-putt for double. The next one's a par 5. I get to about 30 yards in front of the green in 2. And then I get it on my 3rd shot, 3-putt for a bogey. 8th hole, hit it OB. I hit it, lose the first one into a creek. Lose my 3rd shot after the drop into the water. Drop zone, chip, 2 putts, 7, triple.
Jesus.
Last hole, 9th. I hit a decent drive, skull, another shot straight into the high grass, lose the ball. hit my next shot onto the green, 2 putts for a double. So I'm like 7 over, 7 over on those, 8 over or some shit, like 7 over on those 4 holes. So at this point in time, I'm thinking I'm done. It's not going to happen. I shoot 42 on the front. Okay. I get the 10, long 200-yard par 3. I hit the green 3 putt. I was about 18 feet, 3 putts. I'm still miserable. 11, fairway, green, 2 putt par. 12 ends up being the most important hole that I don't realize. I hit it's a 300. It's about a 270 yard as the bird flies, but you got to hit it dead straight and then 100 yards left because there's all these trees on the left side that you can't hit over, so you can't go directly at the flag. So you hit like a 5 hybrid down about 200 down to this flat level. I got 100 yards left. I chunk push my wedge into the water. So I'm laying 4 at that time, or laying laying 3 at that time. Hit my 4th shot. Hit my 4th shot over the green about 30 yards, 30 feet over the green, over past the flag, over the green on the fringe. So I hit this little mini chip, struggles all the way down there, drains it, goes straight in. At that point in time, I'm still pissed off, right? I'm not really happy that I made that because I still bogeyed it. I still hit a ball in the water, but that 5 ends up being like one of the most important shots that I made in the round. So I get to 13, and that's when I start playing really well. 13th short par 3, 12-foot birdie putt, missed the birdie putt, get egg par. Next hole's 14, long par 5, crush the drive, crush the approach, about 8 feet short of the green, and I 3-putt from there for a par. It should have been a bird. 16, I hit I hit one into like some brush. I'm able to hit it out, but I hit it fat. But then I still get it up and down from about 80 yards to save par. And then so this is when it gets interesting. Now I'm on 6. Yeah, now I'm getting on 16, and I'm still not thinking about my score because I know I shot 42 on the front, and I had 2 bogeys to start the round. It's the back 9. I'm just not thinking that I have any chance. And so I end up going to 16, and I almost make. I thought it was a hole-in-one. This is the second like on the week before. I hit the flag. So that's my next thing. I'm going to get a hole-in-one soon. The way I'm hitting my irons, I'm going to get a hole-in-one soon. And so I hit this. It looks like it's going in. It looked like it was going in. It was perfect, about 6 feet right behind the hole. I missed the putt. Missed the putt for birdie, make the par. So I'm pissed off at this point. Like, I'm still not checking my score because I've had multiple great looks of birdies back to back, like 4 out of the last 5 holes or some shit like that, right? And I just haven't made any of them. So I get to 17. And I just punish this drive. It's a short par 5, about 470, something like that. And I just destroy this drive. I hit about 265, 270, something like that. For me, that's a long ways. And so I hit my next shot, 4 hybrid, really thin green, bunker to the left, bunker to the right, pin middle left. I aim for the bunker on the right, and I hit this beautiful baby draw, just spectacular, towering baby draw in the air. Lands in the front of the green, rolls up to the pin, to the fridge, exactly pin high, about 12 feet for eagle for that shot. It's uphill putt, but I fucking miss it on the amateur side. I hit it too low, never even gave it a chance. Still 6 inches, tap in, make my bird. And so at Pendelbrook Golf Course, the drive from 17 to 18 is a long drive. You got to drive through neighborhoods and shit like that to get to the final hole. So I start looking at my score. I'm like, wait a second. I'm 7 over. Going into the last hole in a par 71. And so I'm like, holy shit. Like, if I just bogey this final hole, I break 80. And that's when the nerves I could actually feel it.
That's probably the worst thing you could have done.
The worst thing, I didn't think I was that close, because I was not really happy, even though I was playing well on those last 6 holes. I was not really happy, like I said, because I've had so many opportunities to make birdie, and I was missing them, and I was 3-putting from, distance and just making par on the par 5, flubbing an approach, getting lucky, getting it up and down from 80 yards. So I didn't even think of it. So I'm just looking, I'm like, holy fucking shit. I'm 7 over par. I just need a bogey on the last. And so we get to the last hole at Penderbrook at an 18. And this one is the tee box is on the top of the hill. The green is about 15 yards below, about 300 yards as the bird flies, right? But in front of the green are these weird, it's fairway, but they have like a dozen of these weird mounds that stick out, like circular mounds. That's
Moguls.
all tall grass, but it's tall grass.
Ooh,
so it's like fairway, and then this random mound of circle tall grass, where if you hit it in there, it's a lost ball, or it's unplayable. You're not going to be able to play it out of there. And so that's the front of the green. On the right is a creek and trees. On the left is high grass. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to take the dry route because it's about 280, like that with the slope. And I was like, okay, I'm not even going to, I want to, so there's another option. The fairway starts at the bottom of the hill. Once you get to the bottom of the hill that you're on as your tee box, the fairway goes up like 18 at Augusta, right? It's like that really super like high slope fairway. And you got to hit it about 200 yards to get to the edge of the fairway. And that leaves you a nice little wedge onto the green. Now, you miss right, you're in the bunker and you have high grass. You miss left, you're in the trees and there's OB. And so I haven't hit a snap hook all day. That's been my miss for the last 2-3 years. That's why my game has sucked, because I could still hit the occasional really good shot. But when I miss, my misses were insane hooks, right? Like insane hooks. So I take out the 4 hybrid. It's been treating me well all day. And of course, I know what I need to have, and I fucking snap hook this bitch like straight into the trees, and I don't hear it hit a tree, which is not good, because it's sort of you could find it in that area, but if you hit it past the trees, you're in the parking lot, and it's okay. So I'm like, oh shit. So I fucked that up. So I'm going to the ball, and I got lucky. Like the hill that goes to the parking lot is like this. And then it rolls down the hill and the parking lot's there. And so like everything, the rest of the green, the trees and stuff is like a flat area. It was literally on the tip right here of the hill. Like it easily could have rolled down with like a gust of wind. But I find it. And so I have like a 20-foot gap in the air with trees all around. It's like an opening that's 20 foot to get to the fairway. But about 30 yards in front of me is high grass, and it's about 10 yards of high grass. So I have to be able to hit this chip through the gap, right? And then over the high grass into the fairway. If I hit it over the fairway, it's bunker and more high grass, right? So I have about a 20-yard window that I have to hit this in. It is not easy shot, because my ball was a little bit of an uphill lie, because it's on the back side of the hill, like not where it was flat. So it was like a slight uphill lie. And so I break out a 9-iron, and I'm thinking I have to just try and, chip this out through the gap and get enough pace on it to get over the high grass. I skull it. The ball bounces about 15 yards in front of me. It's heading straight for the high grass, which would, be a penalty. I'd have to drop, and then I'd have to get it up and down from like 130 to save par. So my head's down. I see it bounce. It takes one more bounce right before it goes into the high grass, and I'm talking about like 3 feet high grass. You're not going to be able to play it. And somehow the ball hits, I think, an exposed root. Is what it hit, a tree root. The ball bounces, flies in the air, goes over the high grass, lands right in the middle of the fairway.
Oh my God.
Lands right in the middle of the fairway. I have about 118 to the pin at that point in time, right? I have 118 to the pin, my third shot. pin back left. You usually don't see this pin. I play this course 100 times. You usually don't see the pin in the back left very often. So I aimed for the middle of the green, about 25 feet right. And I was like, okay, if I hit a little bit of a cut, it's going to be real nice. Because by then I was cutting. No, if I hit a little bit of a draw. By then, by the end of the round, my body was nice and warm. I was hitting mostly cuts, with my irons. I'm sorry, mostly baby draws with my irons. So I aim about 25 feet right of the flag, and I hit this towering, beautiful gap wedge, just sky high, just beautiful, but no draw, dead straight. Lands about 4 feet past pin high. On the back side of the green, the correct level, because there was multiple levels. You hit it short, it's going to roll back.
Oh, geez.
So I had to hit it on that back level. And so I hit this beautiful, beautiful gap wedge. And it leaves me about a 25-foot, 30-foot putt downhill. A little bit right, a little bit left to right, and then towards the end, it just flattens out and straightens out at the hole. That's what I saw. So I get ready for the putt, and I hit this putt. About halfway through, I'm like, this has a chance. This really, really has a chance to go in. With like 12 feet left, like I'm like Jack fucking Nicklaus at the 86 Masters, right? I have the club like in the air, right? With about 12 feet left. Like I'm like it's 16th at Augusta, 1986. I think Jack Nicklaus. Like I have the club about 6 feet left. I'm walking to the pin with my club like in the air with like a foot left. I can hear fucking Vern Lundquist saying, "Yes, sir!" Right? I can hear like all this shit, right? Last second, it loses a little bit of speed, hits the lip, rolls and misses. But I have like a 3-inch putt for bogey. I make the bogey. I get my bogey. I wanted the par. I wanted to be greedy. At that point, I'm like halfway through the shot. I was being really greedy. It's like, I want to break 80 and I'm going to do it by 2 strokes for my first time. I'm going to shoot 78. And I thought it was, I had the fucking club up in the air. My boy's like, what the fuck? I literally like
in the flow,
halfway
bro.
through, I was feeling it. But it lipped out. And, but I made it. Did make 3 inches. I just tapped it in. Got my 79. Felt real good. My handicap's gone from 17.9 to 14.4 in the last 6 rounds. So three and a half,
huge improvement, man.
like literally, like I it's on my feed. Like it's that one small little swing tip changed the trajectory of my game for maybe the rest of my life. Because I am hitting the ball
confident there, Jenny.
I'm hitting the ball like I've never hit the ball before. You say pros don't hit it high. I'm hitting it fucking high as fuck. Like I'm hitting gap wedges of sky fucking high. Perfect. My hybrids are getting so much height on it. I'm actually making divots after the ball. Like I'm not picking anymore. I'm compressing. Like and it all came from just this one little tweak. Incredible stuff. Adam Young Golf. Go follow him. Go to my X feed if you want to see that swing tip. The only thing that you need to really focus on if you're like a high handicap guy really is your club face position when you hit the ball. If your club face is in the right position, even if you fuck up, it's your misses aren't going to be that wild. And that's why high handicap. So like how Justin Rose, when he does his pre-shot routine and it goes back and it brings the club forward a little bit, he's making sure that club face is in the exact direction he wants it to be when the ball hits, when the club hits the ball. Like he's like, that's where I want it to be parallel, right, to where I am. I don't want impact it to be position. Like this. Impact position, basically. It is. I don't want it to be this. I'll push it. It'd be like this, you hook it, stuff like that. So, it's literally my last thought is that's why I do so many practice swings, because you could feel it, like where your club face position is correct. If it's going to come in through solid at the exact parallel angle that you want, you could feel that in your swing. You could feel it in your swing. And so that's why I'm doing all these practice strokes, to make sure I have that feeling on it. And then I try and mimic that same exact swing when I line up to the ball with my last 3 swing thoughts.
You're trying to hit it over the spot that you have 6 feet in front of you.
So I have 6 inches in front of me is what I'm looking at. 6 inches is what I'm looking at, and that's where I usually, like, if I'm off the tee, I'll get like a divot. I'll see like a divot, a sand-filled divot in front of me, and I will tee my ball directly behind it at the exact angle that I want the ball to go. And so I want my club face to be coming in. Here is what I'm aiming for. I want it to be perpendicular, perfectly perpendicular to where I'm aiming 6 inches in front of me. Like, I don't even look at the course anymore.
Yeah.
Like before I swing, I'm just looking at that spot 6 inches in front of me. That's it. That's where I'm looking at. That's my only aiming spot. That's where I'm so that also helps me with my positioning. So I know that, like, I lay my club face flat, perpendicular to that spot, and I have the right feet and the right positioning. And then, that's the main focus that I'm focusing on. 6 inches in front of the ball. That's what I'm aiming for. That's where I'm hitting. And that's where I want the club face to be perpendicular to, at that 6 inches in front of the ball. I don't even look at, before I do my practice swings, I'll look and see exactly where I want the ball to be. And I cheat a little bit with my irons, because I was an 18 handicap a month and a half ago. Like, okay. So what I'll do is sometimes I make little indentations with my iron head at 6 inches in front of the ball. Like, I'll put like a mark. I'll chop it into the ground so I see a little mark on the grass. You know what I'm saying? 6 inches, which is definitely cheating, but you can't do that. But I don't care. I'm trying to, I don't go to the range. This is practice for me, and I have to make sure that this is going to work. And so all of that has really changed my game, and it's so unbelievably more fun to go out and play golf now. And it's been a little bit consistent. Like I said, 90, 84, 87, 88, 90, 79. Those have been my last 6 scores since I've made these tweaks. And this is something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. And I can't wait to get back out there and set.
I'm so happy for you, Kenny. You can like literally tell how excited you are about golf, being romantic about the game. It's awesome, dude. And it's a good lifestyle as well. You don't drink and smoke and much on the course. You just,
well, I don't. That's the only reason I'm able to tell you exactly what happened on every single course, every single hole, is because I was sober out there. I'm not drinking. I'm not even getting high on the course, because I really want to focus on the golf. So it's actually pretty funny. I went out with some friends that night to some house party. I don't really go to house parties, and everyone is 20 years younger than me, and we're having a pretty good time. And at, I don't know, like midnight, I'm slagging and shit like that. And some random kid, got to be like 22 years old, just comes up to me. I was bullshitting with him. We're having a good time. He comes up to me and hands me a fucking nitrous container. Like, but the thing is, like, it's like a handheld nitrous container. I ain't even know kids. That's how kids fucking party these days. Like, Jesus Christ, no wonder kids are fucked up. Like, if it was that fucking easy. So it's like nitrous. Yeah, you ever been to a concert? Like, when I was young, we'd go to like concerts and we'd buy balloons for like $10, right? And you get the little balloons and you huff on the balloons. Or when I was in college, I met this guy at a bar. My guess is he was on the run, or he was a criminal, but he's stolen like a whole bunch of like 5-foot-gallon tanks of nitrous and a whole bunch of ketamine, like liquid ketamine. And so he was like going from college to college and just like partying and selling it, I guess, whatever. And so, of course, I met him. I was like, yeah, come back to my place. He had a party there for like 3 days. And so, he had his, he had his little, so my big thing about nitrous was, big old tanks that you see at the fucking dentist when when I was like 20 years old, right? Or go to raves or something when I was like 19 and, huff on these crazy balloons. Kids nowadays, they got fucking handheld self-containers of this shit. Like, no wonder these kids, like, no wonder no one's drinking anymore. Like, when it's this easy to get fucking drugs when you're fucking 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. I mean, like, I probably wouldn't drink either, right? I mean, it's just wild. I mean, like, it's crazy. I couldn't believe it.
They call it like galaxy gas now. It's like crazy. Like
I think, yeah. It was some wild. It was like it had like it looked like you could just buy it at like the store. Like, is what it looked like.
Party City, baby. Just for balloons.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
It's not helium though. It's nitrous.
But those are helium. This is nitrous.
Yeah.
This is
Let
nitrous.
me get my periodic table figured out.
It's some crazy shit.
But yeah, so I went home right after that. I was like, this is too wild for my ass. I'm gonna go home.
You didn't take
but
it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, come on. Let's be real. Of course I did.
Okay.
But you know, I definitely went home after that. But it was a good round. It was top 10. I have no wife, no kids. You know what I'm saying? So obviously top 10 day of my life, right there with breaking 80. So it was a lot of fun.
Congrats, dude. And you know, it was just so funny that you and Chris Kirk shot this, like, on your career day. The guy you bet on, literally the only person you bet on that day, shot the same fucking score as you around the John Deere Classic.
Chris Kirk shot a 79 on Saturday.
On a 71 as well.
On a par 71. Same score as me. Like I said, the golf gods had something to do with this. They were like, okay, we can't let you have both of these motherfuckers. We'll give you the 80. We'll give you the 79. But you ain't having Chris Kirk too. You ain't having Chris Kirk.
I would love to have seen a simulcast of if you guys were playing at the same time, like how your rounds went. At some point, you were a lower par than Chris Kirk on the front, probably, you know, like -2 through 5 or whatever you were. That would have been hilarious, but congrats.
Yeah, I saw 37 on the back. 37 on the back. Yeah, it was solid.
And have you played since?
Huh?
Have you played a game since then?
Oh, no. I have not. I wanted to, but I'm going to go out this Saturday morning. We'll play on Saturday, and then we'll see how it goes. One thing I've noticed since I've lost the weight, though, is that it's a lot easier for me to recover. Like, I'm not as, I don't know, I did a lot of stretching too. So I played 2 days in a row and I was not as fatigued. So when we go to Iowa, we're going to have to play maybe 36 a couple times.
Let's go, dude. I'm down. Yeah. Beautiful. I'm just scared I lose to you now. I need to get my game dialed in.
I don't know. I have been getting more consistent, like I said, but I am not really sure. We'll see. It's golf, right? I mean,
Kenny,
like I said,
I can shoot anywhere between 72 and 86 depending on how many tees I have and how many, how bad the day was before. But
if the last 6 rounds were anything, I shoot between 79 and 90. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if he keeps going. I definitely want to get out there again and do everything, and just being able to hit like a 9-iron, like 140 yards with like full compression, just sky high. It's a good feeling, and it's a really nice feeling. And I was having that feeling a lot. It wasn't just happening like once, twice, 3 times around. It was like consistent. And if I can keep doing that, man, I really want to go out there and play golf. That's why it's an amazing game. Pretty incredible stuff. I've never texted my father before. So that was the first text I ever sent my dad, that I broke 80. We haven't had the best relationship in the past. We're cool now. But yeah, I've never texted him. That was the first thing. He didn't text me back. That's okay. He didn't text me back. But
I didn't want to ask that question either, because I figured that could have been an outcome, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
But you know what? That's ballsy, Kenny. That's off your chest now too. You know what I'm saying? Like you took a step towards a good part of your life. So I commend you.
Oh, yeah, me and Mike, we're fine. There's no hate in the relationship anymore. But that was definitely the first text I ever sent him. So next time I see him, I'll give him shit for not texting me back. All right. Anything else we want to talk about? Because we've gone about 45 minutes and not even talking about the Scottish Open. Like I said,
58 minutes actually.
Okay.
58 minutes. All right. Okay. Hey, time codes. That's why I use them.
Yeah.
We had a career week. I had one of my favorite events. You broke your personal best in golf. I mean, this is a golf show.
How about this, Byron? why don't we move on to the Scottish Open this week, the PGA Tour? In conjunction with the DP World Tour, head across the pond for the Scottish Open played from the Renaissance Club. This event has been played at the Renaissance Club. I like saying that. I don't know why. Like, I always thought it was a Renaissance Club. And then when you listen to the coverage, everyone goes, the Renaissance Club. So this event has been played at the Renaissance Club in the last 6 years, but this is the fourth time it has been co-sanctioned by the PGA and DP World Tours. In the previous 6 iterations of this event, scoring has been weather dependent. Weisberger, Minwoo Lee, and Bobby Mack 1 year in good weather conditions with a score of -22, -18, and -18, respectively. Also, Aaron Ride defeated Fleetwood in a playoff here during windy and cold conditions with a score of -11. 3 years ago, Xander won at -7 after a windswept weekend last year, or a couple of years ago, Rory won at -15, but there was still like 50-mile-per-hour gusts on Sunday. As with many link-type courses, weather is the main defense of the course, and it doesn't look horrible. It looks like right now it doesn't look like any rain. It looks like it's going to be dry, for one thing, and it looks like it's going to be sunny. So we'll have to see the wind. The wind is going to be the big factor as we get closer. I'm not going to trust anything I see about wind on a Monday. I'll wait till Wednesday to make those final decisions. I probably should wait till Wednesday to make my final bets, but we do this show. So I got to make these bets and I got to make these plays for you. So that's how we're going to roll. Now, when it comes to comp courses for PGA Tour players, you should look at past Open Championships, along with possibly like the RSM Classic and the Honda Classic, both seaside courses where wind could play a large factor. For Euros, looking at the past 6 years here, along with the Open Championship and other events played in Great Britain, Ireland, Scotland. If you're looking for a correlation that contain both PGA and Euros on a link style course that's not the Renaissance Club, take a peek at the 2022 Saudi International event from Royal Greens. All right, so the course, the Renaissance Club, is a little under 7,300 yard link style par 70 with 10 par 4s, 5 par 3s, and 3 par 5s. The 3 par 5s, the drivable par 4 fifth, the 3 par 5s, the drivable par 4 fifth, and the 2 short par 3s are the easiest 6 holes on the course, all playing under par. Golfers need to take advantage of these holes throughout the week to be in contention. More than half the par 4s range from 450 to 500 yards, and these holes will be the most difficult. The par 4 18th hole is actually the hardest hole on tour a couple of years ago, playing like 0.7 strokes over par. If you have a golfer at or near the cut line on Friday heading into 18, you should probably be worried. This is not a true links course, as only 4 holes play alongside the ocean, but it still has all the other components of link style golf. Off the tee, golfers are going to see average size rolling fairways with a fair amount of undulation. These fairways normally play firm and fast. I think if conditions are soft, it should favor longer hitters, but I don't expect that this week. I think these firm, fast conditions are going to just bring everyone more clumped together and give shorter guys a chance along with the longer guys. If golfers just miss the fairway in the rough, it shouldn't be too difficult to play out of, but link style imagination and use of the ground game will be needed for some approaches out of the rough. The farther a golfer misses the fairway by, the more penal the rough will be. Golfers will love the rough compared to the deep fairway pot bunkers, though. Get too close to the edge of one of those bunkers, and golfers have to pitch out sideways. Unlike true links courses, there are a few trees to deal with if golfers miss wildly off the tee, and wild drives can also find the high fescue in some areas. This leads to, many people, this is not the longest course. You're going to see a lot of less than driver here, especially with these firm conditions. You're going to see a lot of people hit low liners and try and use the ground game like a lot of link style golfers do. Now, on approaches, golfers are going to see large, massively undulating, slow greens. They're normally very firm, weather dependent. Pot bunkers surround these upside down, bowl-shaped greens. There are large runoff areas, which will see a lot of play, especially if the wind picks up. These elevated greens will be difficult to get it up and down in, so short game prowess will be necessary to succeed unless the conditions are really, really tranquil. Because if they are, guys are going to hit a lot of greens. If there's not that much wind, you don't really have to pay too much attention. You're hitting around a lot of chips. I mean, you're probably out of it already. The grass on the greens is fescue, and I'd expect the stick meter rating to be around 10.5 or lower. Once again, tricky pop bunkers come into play around the greens. Byron, what are you looking for in golfers this week?
That's an awesome breakdown as always, Kenny. I don't think there's too much to add. I think around a links course, though, you need to have control of your golf ball because you can't just hit it anywhere. You can spray it a little bit, but if you're hitting it way too skew, you're in trouble. Like Nick Dunlap around you is going to hit himself into some very, very intense places. By the way, I walked around with him a little bit too. Interesting situation there. I believe it was a couple years ago where Brian Harmon on the 16th hole drove his ball 227 yards and it was short of the fairway. And then he went double, bogey, double, bogey, 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 double, par, bogey, par, bogey. Right after that, like it completely tilted him. He was 2 under par through 6 holes, drove it short of the fairway and couldn't recover from that. Like he was furious. Multiple people left it short of the fairway on 16 because of the wind. So that just goes to show if the wind is blowing, this course can be a total bitch, man. It was hilarious to see. And I think I'm going to be playing the course, not what the course demands so to speak. I think trying to find where the edges is going to be a big deal because it's Europe now. We're not in America. Shit can get crazy out of nowhere, and you've seen how much the wind can impact that. So I'll be waiting until Wednesday, like you mentioned, to make all the lineups and potentially before my show tomorrow for the majority of my bets. So I have a couple names that I am in the mood to click, just waiting on the green light from the sportsbooks. So that's basically what I'm.
So why don't we start off with the Play ProphetX segment for today? Make sure you go to ProphetX, use promo code FG Degenerates, get yourself 1.5% back on your first 30 transactions that you make on that site. Now here's the thing. What I've been noticing on ProphetX is the top finishes, the top 10s, the top 5s, and the top 20s. They are now out every single week. And here's the thing. Someone got me on this past week with Chris Kirk. When you put your top 20 number in, that number never goes away. So if you put it in on like Thursday before the tournament starts, and it doesn't get matched, it flows in to round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4. So what happened, or at least one round, it flows into. Because what happened to me is I put in that Chris Kirk top 10 bet. I'm sorry, top 10 play. We're not allowed to use that B word during these ProphetX segments. But it's a top 10 play. I put it in. Okay, I put some outrageous number there, right? And it didn't get matched. And then what I found out is it got matched when he was 4 over par for the round. Right? Ooh. He was 4 over par for the round is when that got matched. So you have to pay attention. Like you can't just put your top finish bet play in and then forget about it. Okay? If
and
your
you
guy...
You did it live?
I did it live. I did it live. I did it on Saturday morning before everyone went out. Like because I had a 7:30 tee time. So I went out there Saturday morning and put that play in before he went out. But when people started teeing off, that number did not go away. It stays there. Okay? And so someone got me on that. And of course, took the number because there was no way Chris Kirk was going to finish top 10 after going 4 over on the first 9 holes. So that is something to really keep your eye on. You can get people on that. They got me this past week. So definitely pay attention to that. And if you're putting out the play, don't set it and forget it. Okay, pay attention to your guy. If he starts, playing shitty, delete that shit. Cancel that play because someone is going to catch it and you're going to lose all your money, basically.
I think if you do it before the tournament, it doesn't carry through into the live portion, but maybe once you've bet it live, that's why I asked if it was live or not, because
it was
mine
live.
get just
So
canceled out.
I'm not exactly. We'll know this week because I put in a top 20 play this week for Play ProphetX. It's going to be Xander Schauffele top 20. Most books have it at plus 115 right now. I have it at 150 right now. But let's see. And then as the week goes on, I will probably lower it if no one matches it. Now I'll play it up to like 130, 125, something
There's
like that.
There's a plus 110 out there right now. So
yeah, no, I saw 115 earlier.
As always, you're being greedy because that's the point of this. So
yes, and that includes ties.
Yep.
And that includes ties. So that is going to be my Play ProphetX play for this week. I'll probably have some other ones live as we go on. So let's move. Are you going to do I know, do you have any fancies?
I got a little Justin Thomas for a top 20. As good as a win player he is, his best finish here in the last 3 years, his only 3 appearances, is a 60th. Like it's a 60th, a 62nd, and a miscut. He's never been good in the Open Championship. It's weird. For how good he plays in the wind, he just doesn't thrive. You'd think that his artistry comes out more here, but I think I'm going to take a gamble on him there with the top 20, and I've got a plus 125 right now for the yes. So
okay, all right. That's for the yes. What do you mean? What do you want it for the no? Right?
I laid minus 125 for the no.
Oh, okay.
Because
wow,
I think
minus 125, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
For a no. Because if you take a look
I understand where you're going. I understand where you're going with JT, and we'll talk about JT because I do want to talk about him in a DFS sense. Because you're right, and he hasn't really played that great the last couple of years here. But I mean, the last
plus
few
money,
years,
Kenny, in other books, like plus 140, like that kind of stuff. So
we'll talk about this more in DFS section because the last few years here, he has not been at the top of his game, and he's having a much better season this year compared to where he's been the last 2 or 3 years. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's move on to our kickback golf betting segment. Go to kickbackgolf.com, use promo code FGD15. Get yourself 15% off all their cool merchandise. Mike is showing you all their cool gear right now. Golfers' names on the back of jerseys with their college that they went to or the country that they're from. Really cool stuff. Go ahead and grab that. I saw that you were wearing the Augusta one, the Augusta baseball jersey at the John Deere Classic this past week. They really have some cool stuff. Make sure you go to Kickback Golf. You want to start or should I go? You said you haven't really made that many bets, so maybe I should go first.
I've got Thriston at 125 to 1. I've placed that bet already. We are rocking and rolling there. I trust him in the form he's in right now. He's now made multiple cuts in a row. I think that's 3 in a row now. He was playing really well at the Rocket. Didn't have his best stuff at the John Deere. It is what it is. I do also believe when his girlfriend said that he plays better in the link situations. And just back on the DP World Tour is where he really thrived and won multiple times, in his career. So I think I'm buying early on him. And I think we've also seen a complete shift in what he's capable of. He went from being very bad to showing flashes of brilliance at times at the Rocket. Anytime I followed him at the John Deere, obviously I just knew that. So looking forward to seeing what he can do. Very tempted on the Matt Fitzpatrick 35s out there. It's probably going to be the most chalky play. It might even be less than 35 by the time the show comes out. It could be.
It's definitely going to be less than 35.
Yeah. So I'm looking at a 35 right now, but that's the thing. I don't know if the weather edge is going to be big enough to kind of wait for it to get to 30. If I just want to pull the trigger now on the 35, so I will actually just do that. I'm going to be betting Matt Fitzpatrick as well at a 35 to 1, and I think we're going to be looking at a Max Griesemann 55 to 1. I'll wait for the weather on that one. I think that's someone I'm definitely looking at.
He's a streaky guy.
Griesemann,
very, very streaky.
Yeah. And if it plays easy, I'm in on him because he likes, if it plays windy and difficult, I don't know if I'm jazzing a Griesemann ticket. But if we expect it to get to the mid-teens, closer to 20, I'm down on Griesemann again because that's where he thrives. So we'll see what he can do. Took the week off at the John Deere as well, so he should be nice and rested up along with the rest of the squad. Yeah. What have you got, Kenny?
So I have a full card because I'm an idiot. I should probably wait until Wednesday, but for you guys, I have a full card. Here's the thing: if there is a weather wave advantage, I'll cash stuff out and I'll change my card. So make sure you go check me out. go to Kendo VT for my final card Wednesday, probably afternoon, Wednesday evening. But this is what I'm going with for now. My first play is going to be Colin Morikawa, 30-1 with 3 places. The big news, of course, for Colin Morikawa is now he has Billy Foster on the bag. This is Matt Fitzpatrick's old caddy. We all know Morikawa is a prima donna, first lady of the PGA. Your devotees are on their knees to implore you. Can you deny us the triumph in store? Sing. Okay, anyways. So Chris, you owe me $100 because he said that I would not be able to sing a Broadway show tune on the show. So I'm going to go ahead and collect that. I'll take that on Venmo, PayPal, or cash there, my friend.
But you have to go ahead on Colin Morikawa
and send that to me. Now, here's the thing. That
was impressive.
Shout out to Fan of the Opera. If you didn't know, that's from Fan of the Opera. And unlike the new owners of the Opera Populaire, who, basically, catered to all of Carlotta's needs, who was the diva, who was the prima donna. They're basically yes men. Billy Foster's not going to be a yes man, right? To Colin Morikawa. I mean, Billy Foster has caddied for Sen Ballesteros. He's caddied for Darren Clark. He's caddied for Tiger Woods. He's caddied for Henrik Stenson, for Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia. This guy is OG, triple OG, right? Of caddies out there. He doesn't take no shit. He doesn't take no guff, right? I mean, the guy, and that's why I think that even a guy like Morikawa, who is extremely hard-headed, who always thinks that he is right, he has to still respect what a caddy of Billy Foster's ilk has to say, right? And this is only a 2-week little thing for them. We'll see if it goes longer. But Billy Foster is going to be with Colin on the bag, for both of these events across the pond, right? And so now here's the thing: you add in the fact, I think this is the type of guy. This could backfire completely, right? I mean, it could. If you see Billy Foster not talking to Colin Morikawa halfway through the first round and is just handing him clubs, this shit's not gonna work, right? Yeah. But I think that somebody like this can talk some sense into Kawa, because I mean the chances that he's had to win in the last few years, he's just made a couple of errors on a couple of holes. I remember specifically it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago, where his caddy was like, okay, you got to hit it with this club. You're going to land it short. It's going to roll up. He's like, no, I need to land it closer to the pin. And of course, he took his own advice, bounced over the green, left himself an impossible up and down, and he bogeyed the hole. And so I think this could be a good combo for him. You take into effect also that his ball striking has been great. He's won, an Open before, finished 4th at this course before. I think he makes for a good bet. Also put in the fact that he's won in forever, right? And so he's going to want to get this win. If a Rory or a Xander or they come out and they start a little bit slow, you'd think it's possible that they could just go out there and just be working on stuff for the following week, right? I mean, just to make sure their game is correct and they're hitting the right shots for the Open Championship, right? I don't think that's going to play for Morikawa. He knows he hasn't won in forever. And so I think he will be completely focused on the win and not just worried about prepping for the week after. So I really like Morikawa, 30-1, 3 places. Next is going to be Fitzpatrick, 33-1 with 8 places. Plenty of experience and good finishes at the Renaissance Club. Game looks to be back in form. 2 top 10s and 3 top 20s in his last 5 events. Iron game has been strong since the Masters. Only poor performance was at the U.S. Open, and he's fighting for that Ryder Cup spot. He wants to make that Ryder Cup team. It's not guaranteed. He's not in the points. I don't even think he's in the top 12 right now in the Ryder Cup points. So he has to have good showings here at the end of the year. Again, that sort of little bit of a motivation factor with these top dogs here. Next up, it's going to be Harry Hall, 50-1 with 8 places. 5 straight.
In our Ryder Cup points, he's 30th on the points list.
Oh, Fitz is 30. Yeah. See, there you go. So I don't even know if he has to win a couple of. He has to win at least one of these events to even get close. But that's probably not what it'll take. If he shows continuous good play, top 20s, top 10s throughout the rest of the season, I think he makes a team based on reputation as well. And I think a decent fit for Beth Page, especially with the added length that he has, that he's got. So Harry Hall, 50-1, 8 places. 5 straight top 25s, a couple of top 10s in that stretch. Iron game and around the green game have been top notch. His struggles off the tee, but the last 2 less than driver courses he has played, he finished 9th at the Travelers, 6th at Colonial, and he gained 6.6 strokes off the tee at Colonial, right? Made the cut here in his only previous appearance. Next up, these are the bombs. Start going with the bombs. Siwoo, haven't been a Korean in a while. I had to go back. My people's been sort of fucking up here lately. Tom's been fucking up. Siwoo can't fucking hit the broadside of a ball with a 9-iron. You know what I'm saying? So I got to throw Korean up in this bitch. I'm going Siwoo, 75-1 with 8 places accurate off the tee. Killer short game. Can have spike approach weeks. 2nd in the field for 175 to 200 and 4th in the field in strokes gained par 3s in the last 24 rounds. Top 15 in strokes gained tee to green in this field in the last 24 rounds. Solid 26th place finish here last year. Has been sniffing the top of the leaderboard here a couple of times this season. Next one, Thomas Detry, 80-1, 8 places. Dude loves this course, right? Loves this course. I mean, all 6 of his cuts here with a runner-up and a 10th place finish. Was top 10 in tee to green at the U.S. Open, solid top 20 in Canada, good on long par 4s. Next up, Nick Taylor, 80-1. Taylor came in as number 6 in my model for the week. Throwing the fact that he's one of the most prolific winners on the PGA Tour the last 3
Brian
weeks. Yes,
Campbell.
I'm not lying. Nick Taylor, one of the most prolific winners on the PGA Tour the last 3 years. Makes this a pretty easy bet at 80-1 for me, especially with the 8 places. Iron game strong, around the green strong, even off the tee. He's been pretty solid lately. Coming into the event, 4 straight top 25s. 4 straight top 25s, and top 25s in 5 of his last 6. Give me all the Nick Taylor this week. And then I got 2 crazy bombs. First, it's going to be Nico Echeverria, 180-1 with 8
It's a nice
places.
number.
Has had success on short coastal courses in the past. Won Zozo short course, 2nd at Sony, and 2nd at RSM, both coastal short courses. Spike putting and spike approach weeks happen all the time for this guy, right? Leads the tour in par 3 scoring average, 5 par 3s this week at this event. 6th place finish in Detroit just a couple of weeks ago. My final one, it's going to be Connor Syme. Is that how you say his name? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Connor Syme. 200-1 with 12 places. 12 places for Connor Syme. He won just a few weeks ago, on the DP World Tour. Hometown guy, home course, who knows the course like the back of his hand. Never missed a cut here. Finished 15th. His best finish was was last year. Finished 15th. So pretty big card, but I still have room for a couple more long shots or even a live bet. Does not fill my whole $350 to $400 quota that I use. So Morikawa 30-1, 3 places. Fitzy 33-1, 8 places. Harry Hall 50-1, 8 places. Siwoo 75-1, 8 places. Detry 80-1, 8 places. Nick Taylor, 80-1, 8 places. Nico, 180-1, 8 places. Sign, 200-1, 12 places. That's going to be my card for this week. Anything you want to add before we move on to DFS?
I'm going to add Nico with you as well, Kenny. At that price, I don't really care what the weather says. It's the wrong price for a guy that's very comfortable winning when he finds himself in the mix.
In the mix. He's been in the mix. Like I said, RSM, Sony, in the past year, 6 to Detroit, just a couple of weeks ago. He's won Zozo. So, I mean, like, the guy has had a pretty solid 12 months. And he showed a little bit of form just a couple of weeks ago. Has had success on short coastal tracks. 180-1 seemed really nice to me.
Yep. And you can get 200-1 for 5 places. I mean, so we are rocking and rolling there.
All right.
Beautiful. When you're also mentioning what you need at this golf course, I would wear metal spikes, not plastic ones, because that's how Robert McIntyre ended up winning this tournament last year by trying to take a practice swing in the thick fescue, and his metal spikes went through the grass that was covering up a sprinkler head that he was technically standing on top of, that he didn't even know existed there. Scraped his fucking chicken feet around there a little more and got a referee out there to give him the freebie to move out of the shit and into the semi-cut, or like a nice nesty lie that he could just zip. He made birdie or eagle on that hole.
If that ref didn't give him, official didn't give him the ruling, it is in Scotland, right? I mean, like, he is Scottish, right? Isn't Robert McIntyre Scottish? You can get some unruly fans there. You don't want to piss off the Scots, right? You don't want to piss off the Scots. So,
but he was just trying to get it out of that lie. He was trying to just get it out. Then he went from just trying to hack it out to having an eagle putt. I think he made the fucking eagle, if I remember correctly, which is one of the most absurd breaks you could ever have. So that's just another reason for you to hate him, Kenny. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, continue.
All right, so let's move on to DFS Blood, Sweat, and Tears for this week. On the 10K range, we got Scotty, we got Rory, we got Xander. What are you doing this week?
I can assure you I will not be playing Xander Schauffele at 10-1. I've made my rule. I'm not trying to be early on this dude. I will show up late to the party with him because he's being priced roughly where he could almost be if he was playing well. Maybe he's in the 11s versus 10-1. But there's like Tommy Fleetwood I'll take instead of him. In that range, I'll take Rory at 11-4. You always got to play Scotty. So I'll just play those two guys. I'm leaving Xander alone. I don't mind your top 20 bet with him, Kenny, because I feel like his floor is still very high, but we haven't had a top 5 from him yet this year. And that's a problem.
Barely any top 10s.
Yeah, the only top 10 was the 8th at the Masters. So I'm not trying to be early.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've been trying to be early on Xander the whole time. And from a game theory perspective, I mean, he's definitely in play because you look at Rory and Scotty are going to be popular. They're going to drag 60% ownership right there between the both of them. Tommy and Morikawa are going to be popular, I think. Popular enough. That's going to drag another 30% right there. You could see 12% Xander this week, 10% Xander. And the rule that I have usually is an elite golfer that if you're going to get that much of a discount in ownership, it's almost always worth playing. Now, saying that, I'm with you. I'm not playing him in DFS this week. As of now, things could change.
Yeah.
I'm not, if I see him at like 8% or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Then I might have to do something. But like, I think he's going to be like 12%, right? He's going to be the lowest guy of the first at least 5 golfers. From a game theory perspective, if you're trying to win a GPP, that could be a game winner, a GPP winner right there. I don't think I'm going to do it this week. I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm with you. He just doesn't seem like he's all there. And I think that, all 3 of these guys, 2 of them, Scotty's going to be Scotty. Scotty, doesn't matter what event it is. He's going to try and win. But like Rory and Xander, I could see them, if it's not there all the way at the beginning, just trying to work on shit for the following week. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely see them doing something like that. So that's a worry there. Scotty's safe. If you want to play Scotty, go ahead. I got no problem playing Scotty. The thing about it is there is more variance at a links type course. You're not going to get the rolls that you normally get, especially if it's really, really firm. Could frustrate Scotty. He hits a nice drive, nice little, driving iron, nice drive, and it rolls, and it takes a long mound and gets into the high grass. Shit like that can really irritate Scotty Scheffler, right? You know what I'm saying, when it comes to it, because he doesn't like, that's why he's comfortable in the places he's comfortable at. You see him winning multiple times at same courses, right? Because he knows what to expect. He knows what to see. He knows what's going to happen. He knows where to miss, and he knows all that stuff. Now, the thing about this course is it's not your true link style course. So there are going to be opportunities for him to have those, he knows exactly what he has
and
to
he's
do.
played
But
well
it's not going to be
too.
Yeah, he's had, I think, in the top 5, top 3 here a couple times. So I would not go against Scotty. Of course, Rory's won here in the past. I think I'm fading the whole 10K range and above. If I'm going to play someone in my 3 lineups, in my 3 lineups. I'm going to try. Go ahead.
Best ownership, the highest ownership he had was the Sentry before we realized he was injured. 39% there at 11,000. Truest, he was 10-2, 20%. He's been less than 18% in every other slate.
And I think it's going to be I think it could be less than 15%.
Yeah.
And if it's
even with the
less
win
than
that he's had,
if it's less than 12%, I'm going to have to think about it to put in that lineup. Because put it maybe in like the 44 that I put in, where you could have multiple entries, something like that. So I'm going to play the $100 single entry, and I'm going to play the $44 buy-in. And the $44 buy-in, I think you could have like 20 lineups in it or something like that, like a bunch of lineups in there. It's not single entry. So that might be where I use Xander if I use Xander. And of course, I played a $12 albatross, but that's just my cash line that I put in there. So basically, I'm really only making 2 GPP lines every week. So that's the way it's been going, and it's been successful.
Xander was 30% here last year, but he also won 2 majors already. So
yeah. So that would make sense. But let's get to this 10K, this 9K range. My first cash game cornerstone is going to be Morikawa. I just have, even if him and Billy Foster don't mesh, I don't think he's going to miss the cut. You know what I'm saying? So I think the floor is there for him, and I think the upsides that he can win. And at a really good price at $9,600, and $9,600 being my first top priced guy, you can have a very, very balanced lineup. Don't have to go into the 6s, or you can go into the 6s and have 4 guys 8,500 and above, or something like that, right? So you can really stack up your cash lineup by starting with Collin Morikawa as my first cash game cornerstone. My second cash game cornerstone is going to be Bobby Mack at $9,100. Runner-up and first place here last couple of years, couple of top 20s. The other 2 times that he's played, I think he had a miscut once. His form coming in is excellent, right? Yes, he's the defending champion, but he was the defending champion of Canada. This isn't his first rodeo. Now he knows what to expect as a defending champion, and he still finished 36 at the Canadian Open as the defending champion. So that gives me a little bit more faith in him as a defending champ. I don't think he's going to miss the cut. And I think the upside, again, is very, very strong. When you start your cash lineup, 9,600, 9,100, that leaves you wide open to do whatever else that you want. Now, looking at this, I think Sam Burns is going to garner some popularity. If he's popular, I don't think I'm going to play him. If he's not, I will definitely look at him, because coming in, the form is strong. He blew those 2 wins. Yes, he did do that, but the form has been good. He's played well at this course here in the past. His iron game has really been picking up. He's actually been the best golfer from 450 to 500 yards in the last 24 rounds. And it's a little bit skewed probably because of the courses that he has been playing compared to some guys who've just been playing majors and all Siggies and stuff like that. But he has been strong there. Now, I do want to talk about Justin Thomas because I think a lot of people are going to be thinking about you, think like you. I think they're going to fade him. They're going to see his track record on links type courses, his track record here the last 3 years, and you might be able to get him at sub 10% owned. Okay, you think you can get Justin Thomas at single digit owned this week? I mean, it could be a possibility. And here's the reason why I would think about playing him. I haven't decided yet. And if I do, maybe I'll go Xander JT and then, play some chalky guys in the 44 and start with those two, because those two are going to be pretty low owned, I think. And you think about JT, short course, if it's not windy, here's the thing, the weather is dependent for me on him as well. If it's not going to be too windy and it's sunny and it's not rainy and the course looks like it's going to be -18, -19, -20 as a winner. We've seen 4 of the last 6 events -18 or above, right? Or 4 of the last 7 -18. Or -18, -18, -21, -22. We've seen those here, right? So if it's going to play easy and it's a short track, that's sort of and it's a less than driver course, that's sort of become Justin Thomas's jam in the last year, right? It's sort of become his jam, right? And so if you don't mind taking that risk, because again, like you said, hasn't played well here in the past, hasn't really been good at links courses throughout his career. But this is not your typical links course. True links fans will look at this course and scoff when you call it a links course, right? You know what I'm saying? They will scoff at you. If you there's literally like only 4 holes that are by the water, right? It doesn't have the classic out and in, so you're not getting the winds like that. It's not, it's really like a faux links. I think it might be worth as a pivot, JT, in the 9K range. I really, really do. I think especially if he's going to go low owned, I don't think I sway the market that much. So I don't expect people to, that ownership to go just because they're listening to us, right? And I don't know how many other people are really going to be talking about them, the real movers and shakers and stuff who really move ownership on these podcasts, on these write-ups. No optimizer is going to have JT on there, right? Right? No optimizers. I wouldn't think so.
He's $9,200 though. That is the one thing. He's got Ludwig and Colin, Bobby Mack, around him. He's a little more elite than those guys right now.
I really need to see. I need to see the weather forecast, and I need to see the ownership projections.
Yeah,
if he's under 12% projected, and the weather looks nice and not that windy, I think I'm on board.
He has been 10 and 11.
I think that might be the risk I take instead of Xander.
I can support that, Kenny.
I think it's going to be one of those two that I'm going to do. Now thinking about it and just talking about it out loud, that's why this show is great. Because I can actually talk about it and actually try and think about what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do one of those two. Either Xander in the 44 or JT in the 44. And that all depends on the weather and stuff like that. And I think that's going to be my pivot play in this top range in a GPP that has math multi-entry.
Love that. I wanted to ask you why you didn't go with Tommy as a cash game play instead of Colin, since Tommy has just been super consistent with, like, Colin, you've got a whole bunch of bullshit that you got to deal with.
Yes.
Tommy's just clean cut, baby. He's the stereotypical.
The only worry I have
Scottish
is that the last event killed him.
Okay. I think he's
is the last of it, because did you see that picture of him when he can make
heartbreaking.
That has to be. I don't know how you come back from that right away. I'm sure he could do it. I'm sure he could do it.
It'll be like 3 weeks since that happened.
But the pain, man.
Pain. It is. He's $9,900. I think he's got the mental fortitude off the course that he probably needs on the course. I think he's going to show up ready to rock and roll. I think you've often seen a guy get close, Kenny, and then show up the next time and potentially win.
I don't mind using him in GPPs. I don't mind using him in cash either. If you don't trust Morikawa, I think Fleetwood is a good option to go to. I think it's just a little bit of the bias and the excitement that I have about Billy Foster maybe teaching this motherfucker a lesson and really proving to him that he doesn't really know shit. And I think that can help his fucking game. I really fucking do.
Okay.
I really do think that can help Morikawa's game. It could just be this bias that I have hearing and the excitement that I have for Morikawa with Billy Foster as his caddy. So this could be a really bad play by me. So I sort of like
in your lane, man. You've got a reason for it.
You went to Fleetwood. Fleetwood makes more sense. I get what you're saying. And if you guys listening, if you want to go in that route, I have no problem with that. And I think maybe I could start a lineup with Fleetwood JT for the 44, and I wouldn't hate that either.
Yeah. I think I do have a slight issue with the top of this 9K range because I'm not interested in Morikawa, Oberg, Thomas, or Burns. I don't know. Burns around here. Also, if it's easier, I'm down. Like, I think him and JT sit in that same realm a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. But I think, three other guys, Fleetwood, Hovland could be sneaky as well. Kenny, I don't know what the public's opinion is on this dude.
So I would be all over him if he didn't withdraw like in the top 20 he was in the top 20. He was like inside the top 20 and he withdrew his last time out, and we find out that it's a neck injury.
Yeah. Vertebrae injury.
To withdraw while almost contending at like a city event, I would expect that his neck really had to have been really had to have been fucked up. Like if he didn't withdraw a lot, he would be my favorite play. He would be my favorite play. But like a neck injury that you withdraw,
like you are.
Yeah, but a neck injury you withdraw from, and then you have the Open Championship the following week. Like any type of bad feeling, instantly I would stop playing. You know what I'm saying? I would stop playing, and because you got the Open Championship next week, which is a billion times more important. So I'm worried. I'm a scaredy cat. I can't jump on that injured golf. I can't.
I wasn't thinking about his injury. I was just thinking
that's
about
the only reason he's my favorite golfer. If it wasn't for that, I'm glad you brought it up.
But at the same time, what do you think he comes in? Less than 10%? Are people going to be like willing to play him? If he's healthy, he can do anything. The guy almost just won a US Open a couple of weeks ago too. So playing some solid golf. We'll see what happens there. 8s, Kenny. If it's easy, Sepp Straka. If it's not easy, I'm out on him. I think he suits this course really nicely from a wedge, driver, putt situation. Get to -20. If it's -12 and he's sculling chips across the Scottish landscapes, I'm out. I think I'm expecting some good things from him if it plays easy this week. At the top, he's one of my favorite options.
My third cash game cornerstone is going to be Fitzpatrick at 8,800 this week. We definitely talked about him. Yeah, definitely talked about it in the betting segment. Experience, good finishes here. Game looks like it's back in form. Ball striking's great. He could pound it out there. So Fitzpatrick is my third cash game cornerstone. I think I just want to double check and make sure that's actually what I told. Yes, that is correct. So my next favorite play, it's going to be my hustler play of the week. Mike, hit the music. And I could be wrong about this. I do have hustler play B for later because I'm not really quite sure about my man Ryan Fox's ownership. Ryan Fox is my hustler play of the week. The top of the 8K range, like you think, you look at like the top of the 8K range and the lower 9K range. You got Bobby Mack, who's going to be popular. I think Burns is going to get a little bit of ownership. Corey Connors, pretty good, style player in the links. I think he's going to get a little bit of ownership. Fitz is going to be chalk. Adam Scott is going to garner ownership with a second place finish here last year and good finish his previous time out. Harry Hall, I've already talked about, I think is going to gather some steam. You know, Ryan Fox could be, sort of pushed out a little bit when it comes to ownership. And that's sort of what I'm hoping. And if you think about it even deeper, right? If Scheffler and Rory garner 60% ownership in GPPs, right? And most of those lineups will only have one other golfer 8,500 and above, in price. Is that one golfer going to be Ryan Fox? Probably not, right? Probably not. So I really do think we can get some deflated ownership on a guy who's won twice in his last 5 events. He's won twice in his last 5 events, right? Made 4 straight cuts. Is here the 12th place finish here a couple of years ago. Iron game strong. Been putting well. Short game, average to above average. Great on long par 4s and plays par 3s pretty fucking well. I like Ryan Fox, my hustler play of the week. Who do you like in the 8K range? A little bit lower in the lower 8K range.
Yeah, Fox has only been 19% at the Canadian Open. He was 10% at the Travelers this year. Outside of that, he's been sub 10%, with most of his price being less than $8,000. 8K at Mexico. He's been cheap. So minding his business in a range that kind of, in a field like this, he's $8,500 all of a sudden. That could even help that ownership be even lower, Kenny. I think that's a great hustler position there, because he's, in 4 weeks' time, we could say, geez, remember when Ryan Fox was $8,500? When he should be 9K in like a month's time, because the guy continues to go on this feeder. He might be that way. He's trending hard, dude, and playing good golf. So I don't like to hype up your hustler play too much. I want to mush the shit out of him. But this is the week I fancy your guy. So
they haven't been the best in the last couple of weeks, but I feel good about this one.
Yeah.
So he's going to miss the cut by like 8 strokes.
No, man. Hustler
or be in a bad weather.
Yeah, hustler plays are like 3 putts. You hate it when they don't. Anyway, I'm just jumping around you a little weirdly. Maverick McNeely, I think, is always one of these guys that, like Mathieu Pavon, but of the 8K range. You just play him because he'll just fucking show up randomly out of nowhere and just do good stuff. So I think he's absolutely on the board for me. He's also got Ryder Cup considerations, trying to get himself onto that team over there. So we'll see what he can do. I know Wyndham Clark has played well in the past. Jesus. Do we go back to the Patrick Reed of the PGA Tour now at reduced ownership because everyone's just like Wyndham Clark kicks in blockers and hates
There was
volunteers?
like 140 to 1 on him with 3 places in this morning.
Shout out Jim Cummings. I think, I don't know. I don't know what to do with him. We'll see. It's an ownership monitoring play. Seeing negative value for him. He's the only one that's
he's not going to be popular.
No.
Even the week that we thought he was, even the week that we thought he was going to be popular, he was only 8% on.
Yeah. So might skip him, might pop him into the lineups. And Adam Scott. I'm down on Adam Scott. I don't know how popular he's going to be. There's enough popular guys around him too. Fitz, I might just bet top 20 and call it a day, and fade him in DFS just as an ownership option there. Sevens, Griezmann, Dietrich.
Yeah,
let's go.
Griezmann, Dietrich, and Siwoo. Those 3 for me, at least, are the ones that we talked about already. I do like Griezmann. Like you said, he does catch some steam, catch some wind, and he can sort of ride that tide for a couple of weeks. We've seen it before with Griezmann, where he's going like on a multiple week, nice little run. So I do like that play. I think he had a pretty good finisher last year too, if I'm not mistaken. We did talk about Dietrich. We did talk about Siwoo, a couple of good plays that I already have bets on that I like this week. My final cash game cornerstone for this week is going to be Nick Taylor at $7,600. Again, a guy who's won 3 times in the last 3 years, number 6 in my model. Iron game has been good. Short game has been good. Even been good off the tee. I do like Nick Taylor. So my cash game cornerstones for this week are going to be Colin Morikawa at 9,600, Bobby Mack at 9,100, Fitzpatrick at 8,800, and Nick Taylor at 7,600. Other guys, like when you get down lower, Matteo Manassero finished 15th here last year. I think he's someone that you could take a peek at in this lower range. Victor Perez, seems to love this course, plays this course every year, makes every single cut. You do see him pop randomly. He's like one of the random, at certain events that he's been accustomed to. So I do like Victor Perez at 7,200. Hao Tong Lee, 7,100. He's basically resurrected his career here in the last year. He's 7th in the DP World Tour standings. Top 10, gets a PGA Tour card next year, baby. We could be seeing Hao Tong, hitting 8 million balls after holding the lead in a major, again, on the PGA Tour at some point in time. He had a stretch about 2 months ago where he rattled off top 5, top 10, top 5, week after week after week. I think he had a win earlier this year. I think
his interviews are always like holding a dynamite stick of F-bombs, dude. It's the best. Like, you just never know what's going to come out his mouth in those interviews.
Yeah. So I'm in on him, man. Anybody else? Who else do you like in 7K?
I met the Clanton sisters, Kenny. Asked him for a photo as a selfie. I was the only person to ask him for a selfie. I figured they'd be more popular than that. They are so awesome. And I did such a boomer thing where I tried to take the photo with the volume and lock my phone. And they would they handle it like pros, like I was fumbling around trying to get it going. I had ice cream in my other hand, so it was one handing it. It worked out. Give me Luke Clanton. I think he could be the guy that kind of comes through flop lag. We've expected him to show up in the Midwest swing. This is also a course that he can just mash potatoes drivers around you. And, knock a couple wedges close when he needs to. He's been putting like total shit. Maybe he gets onto these foreign greens and continues to putt badly, but they go in the hole instead. That is absolutely a philosophy that I can employ with him. My favorite play in this range is going to be Thurston. Just give me Thurston, baby. Stay out of the pot bunkers. He's a guy, pot hitter. Maybe he's in the pot bunkers a little more than we expect, but I think he's also going to just fly them all. And I think after the WD, people could be freaking out about Aldrich. I think playing a lot of golf in Australia, you've also going to have that sandbelt connection. It's very linksy out there. It's firm, dry, windy. I think Aldrich is going to be very comfortable on links golf, and I'm looking forward to him. Just the pot bunkers are the biggest issue here, Kenny, and I'm assuming he's just going to carry, like Minwoo Lee. When he won, he just carries all of that shit, and that's where the fairways widen up, because the pot bunkers are in the fairways. They're not off the fairways. They're just making the fairways narrower, and you have to lay up short of that. He's just going to fly it over that. So give me Aldrich and Thurston at the same price in a big-time situation. Sam Stevens, $7,400. I think he's been playing a lot better golf lately. Driver-heavy golf course, Kenny. You're just going to be going with the driver here. Sam Stevens is your guy. And then Benny On has started to find some groove in the last little while. He's $7,500. He can play links golf quite nicely. Got a great short game, hits the ball very low at times. By the way, Jake Knapp, you see he put out there, he tried to do a social post saying, first John Deere Classic in the books. And then I replied to him like, dude, I literally watched you here last year. And then he deleted the post and then said, another John Classic in the books. What? How do you just not remember playing the whole week of golf at a golf course like a year ago?
He looks like a guy that would forget shit. I would tell you that right now.
I know,
with the mullet and the stash. He looks like a guy that would forget some shit.
Let's
get to the 6K range. A couple of favorites we've already talked about. Nico Echeverria and Connor Syme. Talked about them in the betting segment, and I do like both of them a lot. Romain Langascu, he tends to play this course pretty well. Good course history. It's a course history guy that you can look at if you're looking to go a little bit deeper here. I got my eye on Brandt Snedeker at $6,200. Here's the thing, he's got a couple of top 10s this year, right? I mean, he was near the top of the leaderboard Saturday at the John Deere Classic. You don't have to hit it that far here. If your putter gets hot, you could just be you can go pretty high at this event. He gained 5.5 strokes with his approaches last week at the John Deere. Dude. $6,200. I could take a risk to try and get some, higher priced guys and stack them up top. I mean, I think there's not much going on in this low 6K range. If you have to go down this low, I don't think you could do, much worse or much better than Brandt Snedeker.
No, I totally agree with you. I think maybe Paul Waring, it would be a guy that I'm in the mood for in that range as well. Going back to Europe again, he is an Englishman used to the links situations, obviously played a lot of DP World Tour golf. I think didn't quite translate great to the US soil for Paul Waring. He's got great potential. I think he's another guy, but I probably put Sneds in there before I do anything in that department. I had a couple other guys at the top here. If you're looking for Matt McCarty, give me Matt McCarty. I'm going to just keep playing him in my lineups. He's on easy courses, goes nuts. I just, played badly off the John Deere is what it is. I'm not too worried about that. Nico Echeverria, $6,800. Sammy Valimaki, $6,800. There's some names that if the course plays easy, Sammy is in the mix for sure. So I like this range a lot. That's what makes me kind of excited to play Rory and Scotty, because there's enough good guys in this field at 6K to get it done. So,
all right, so let's get to the one and done to get out of here before our producer Mike falls asleep, because he looks like he's struggling over there. I apologize.
It's been a long one.
A little bit longer. So one and done. I'm going to play Fitzy, McIntyre, maybe Fox. I haven't decided yet. It's going to be someone. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, so we'll try and keep it vague.
I will play. It's a good question. I have no idea. I might play Aldrich. I might just play Aldrich.
Just play Aldrich. Just play the hurt guy. The guy who withdrew in the middle of a round after,
I might be the only person to play the guy. We could literally just chip it onto the greens every time he's approaching them. Like, he's just chipping. So, we'll see.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here, Byron. Tell him where they can find you.
All right, you can find me at the Model Maniac on X. I'll be doing back 9 bets where I'll have a lot more buttoned up stuff. I'll get my shit together for that show on Tuesday night, 7 Eastern. Also, check out my Model Maniac Patreon. We didn't even mention that you need to be the one that comments, and the first person to comment the winner this week will get a free month to the Model Maniac Patreon, where you can get all my tools, showdown shit, all my live ads as I'm doing that. Weeks like this is the perfect time for that. I'll be rocking and rolling when the rounds are done. It's nice and early in the day, so you can get full use of that for the month, for the US, for the Open Championship as well. Use code FGD50 if you want 50% off over there. Kenny, you smirking sausage, just get us the hell out of here.
Thanks to our sponsors, ProphetX. Use promo code FG Degenerates. Also, Kickback Golf. Use promo code FGD15. All right, we're going across the pond a couple of weeks. We got a major coming up here in less than 2 weeks. It's a good time to play golf, to watch golf. Let's win some motherfucking money. DJ Nation.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort, stacking pennies.